These two 3DS consoles look identical. They share many of the same things. They have the same buttons, same stylus. Both display 3DS games in 3D and 2D. The SD card slot is even placed in the same inconvenient location. They are virtually identical, except they're not. One of them holds a secret that gives it a significant boost in value. These two consoles display games differently, and it all comes down to abbreviations: TN and IPS. I was there. I saw and felt every 3DS version that replaced the last. When the 3D feature was dropped, then reintroduced and implemented to be even better than before. I remember the day when the final system was sold on store shelves, never thinking that they would become sought after. I had always played my 3DS on whatever console I liked the look of at the time, blissfully unaware that I could be seeing my games in a better way. When I caught wind of this, I craved the better way, so I could play the games that I hold so dear at the highest quality. I wanted what would become known as a unicorn. What's so special about a 3DS that it's been given the name of a mythical creature? Something so unique it might as well be a legend. These unicorns have upper and lower IPS screens, which differ from standard 3DS consoles that have TN screens. Why does it matter if these two consoles have different displays? And does it really matter if I play my games with the standard TN screens? Both versions play 3DS and DS games. Is the difference really that significant? And is it really worth paying the higher price for the models equipped with IPS displays? Nintendo started making the 3DS in 2011 with TN screens. These types of screens have been around for a long time. They are inexpensive and get the job done. Some people prefer TN monitors for gaming because they have a rapid refresh rate compared to other display types. Nintendo has used these screens in every version of the 3DS and 2DS, including the new systems. Along with those TN screens, they also used IPS displays in the new 3DS and new 3DS XL, and you can't tell by looking at them on the outside which ones have what screen types. That's become a problem for people looking for a 3DS with IPS displays. But why is this screen type so sought after? IPS panels were created to improve on what TN panels lacked. The biggest difference between the two are the viewing angles, and it's the easiest way to tell if a 3DS has them. When you look at a console with TN screens straight on, they look great, but when they are viewed at an angle, they become washed out. If you do the same with the 3DS equipped with IPS displays, this doesn't happen. The image holds firm, exploding with color, and that's another thing these displays do better. They have great color, and some people swear they can see it right away. Nintendo didn't just include these in every new 3DS and new 3DS XL. They decided to do a mixed bag of both. Some consoles have a top IPS display and a bottom TN screen. Others have a top TN screen and a bottom IPS display. Some only have TN screens, while others became unicorns with upper and lower IPS panels. You never really know what you're going to get when you enter this world of 3DS displays. It takes a trained eye to know the difference at first glance. In fact, most people who have purchased them have difficulty knowing if they have TN or IPS displays in their 3DS. It seems like there's a post almost every day of someone asking if their system has IPS screens. If it's that difficult for the average person to see, then why are people looking so hard for them? Well, it's exactly what I said earlier. We all want the best version of the console. It's human nature to want the absolute best. But does that really matter? And do they really live up to the higher price? 3DS consoles are expensive now. Gone are the days when people wanted to get rid of them. I was buying them for around $30 just a few years ago. They started to spike in popularity around 2020. With the high demand, prices have started to increase dramatically. You can expect to pay over retail for almost every version of them in used condition. I don't think I've ever seen this happen to such a recently discontinued gaming console. Usually that takes years and years to happen. A perfect scenario was created when people were all stuck at home with nothing to do and couldn't get their hands on the current consoles like the Switch, Xbox Series X or S, or the PS5. So what did they do? They started looking backward at the previous console generation, and the most recent gaming handheld that was on the market was the 3DS. At the time, you could still find 3DS games being sold in retail stores, even though the console itself was no longer available. People started buying whatever they could find, driving prices well beyond what the consoles were worth. It also drove game prices up with them. This was great seeing the 3DS finally get the love it always deserved, but it was also a little bit of a gut punch because of how expensive the hobby has become. With all these new fans around, the discussion of TN and IPS screens was bound to become something bigger, and bigger is exactly what happened. When the eShop was about to close, many channels were making videos about how they were going to scoop up a dual IPS model and keep it forever. because those are the greatest 3DSs Nintendo has ever made. But it was said almost as if every other way was a waste of time and money. I've always wondered why that is. I've been a 3DS owner since the beginning. I've purchased and used every model that Nintendo has ever released. In truth, I've known for a long time about the IPS displays in the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL consoles. This discussion has existed for a while, and when I found out there was a difference, I wanted the IPS screens. I've acquired 2 dual IPS models. One is the new 3DS and the other is the new 3DS XL. I also have another that has an upper IPS and a lower TN screen. They really do make games look quite nice. I have no complaints. They're great. If you're interested in them and have the budget to get a 3DS that has them, you should do it. But consoles with TN screens are also great. I have had no problems playing any games on a 3DS with TN screens. The benefit of having better viewing angles doesn't really matter on a 3DS. You play it with the screen pointing directly at your face, unlike a TV where you could be viewing it from the side. I don't know anybody that plays their 3DS at an angle. The colors are slightly more rich with IPS screens, which is a benefit of them, but really, looking at them side by side, it's negligible. That's why you see so many people asking if their system has IPS screens, because they both look really good. They can't tell. The console I choose to use regularly has an upper TN and a lower IPS display. That's this one, the Fire Emblem Fate Special Edition. This console is more than just 2 screens and buttons to me. Call me sentimental, but this console means a whole lot more to me than what the screen type is. First of all, I love the look of it. Everything on it is contrasting black and white. The white interior with the black buttons makes me enjoy playing games on it. No other 3DS has this color play. The overall design of it with the white top and the black bottom is fantastic. The discrete dragon artwork also makes it look great when the light hits it just right. I like the aesthetics of this model and it's the reason I use it. I also have a great connection to how I got it. I first saw it when Nintendo updated the color options on their website. There was no other advertisement for it that I'm aware of. I tried to pre-order it, but nobody seemed to offer it. So I waited to get it on release day. It turns out that I wasn't the only one. I couldn't find it anywhere. I tried all day going around to different cities to no avail. Nobody had them in stock and they never did after that release date. Then I had an idea that evening. My parents live in a small town with a GameStop. I called that store and they had one in stock. I got a hold of my dad who went down there without question and bought it for me. The guy is a class act and didn't even ask for his money when he gave it to me, though I did pay him back. It was such a kind gesture and I love remembering it whenever I turn it on. If I had to reduce my 3DS game playing to just screens and buttons, why would I keep anything? It's like my Switch Pro controller. I have a few new ones I've always intended on opening and using, but I just don't. I like that this one has been with me since day one of the Switch's release. It's in good condition, but bears marks of my time with the console. I've worn down the matte finish between the face buttons because I rub it with my thumb during loading screens. It also has a few scratch lines on the bottom left handle where I knocked it off my desk onto my skateboard's grip tape. I love that. Most people don't care about these kinds of things, and there's nothing wrong with that. We are all different people with different motivations. Though that's not the only reason I don't use my IPS models for everyday gaming. There's something really bland about the way the interiors of these look. Nothing stands out, especially with my new 3DS XL. It's all black, which is less distracting but very sterile. It's exactly like every other standard model Nintendo made. The screens are great, but the inside is just there. I'd honestly rather play on the Super Nintendo Special Edition with its gray interior and purple buttons, and TN screens. I like the cosmetic look of my consoles. The 3DS has had many revisions. These revisions changed and implemented different things to accommodate the many different styles of play people have. There are smaller consoles, bigger consoles, versions that don't play games in 3D, a model that doesn't fold. There are also 2 different screen types. All this becomes a little overwhelming when you start to dig deep into the system. The consensus is that the new models are the ones to get. I would agree with that. They are better. But if you like to play on the other models, that's great. What's important is that you're playing the great library of 3DS and DS games. It's easy to get hung up on all the specs. The most important thing is that you're playing games. It doesn't matter if you're playing the physical cartridges, emulating them on your PC, or on a modded console. Just play the games. That's especially true when it comes to the screen type. If you can't afford it, or you don't want to delve into the differences, you're okay playing on a console with the standard TN screens. The experience will be just about the same. These 2 consoles might look identical, but they're not. One holds a secret. These 2 consoles display games differently, but play games identically.